Mayor Menino is trying to get approval for a new ordinance that would encourage more energy efficiency in buildings. That's mainly because buildings are the leading generators of greenhouse gases. The proposed ordinance would apply mostly to large buildings, and it would promote efficiency through disclosure of information about water and energy that would be used for ratings. Some of the owners of commercial properties say gathering that information will put them under a burden, but supporters say incentives for energy efficiency can also save money. We recently heard from an opponent of the ordinance, and tonight we hear from two supporters: the Director of Transportation Demand Management and Sustainability for a Better City, David Strauss, and the President of Ecological Solutions, along with being the owner of the Lenox Hotel, Ted Saunders. Thank you very much for being with us, both of you.
Thank you. Great to be here.
I want to start with Ted Saunders. Put this into the real world, because at the Lenox, you've done some things to save energy, and talk about why you did it and what you have to show for it.
Well, we think this is just smart business. We've been implementing what the city is suggesting that businesses and buildings do around the city. We've been doing for over 8 years, and we've seen hundreds of thousands of dollars of savings where we can invest some dollars, or sometimes it's a no-cost initiative where it's just an operational change. But little or no investment can reap a tremendous amount of savings, whether it's with lighting, whether it's with changing your operating procedures related to the heating and cooling of the building. It really is, it's a no-brainer in terms of taking efficiency measures. There are 35,000 buildings around the United States that are using Portfolio Manager and succeeding in terms of lowering their energy costs and saving money. And a lot of buildings around Boston as well are doing it. So it's really about how do we get we've done the low-hanging fruit. We've done the people who are going to do it just because they know it's smart business. How do we get this to a broader audience? And I think that's why the ordinance is so important, because this is a pretty basic step. We're just talking about reporting. We're not talking about, they're not mandated to make any of the changes, even though those changes would save them money. But when you look at the sort of the face that I have kids at home. I have 11-month-old twins. When you look in your kid's face, how can you say to them, we're not even willing to benchmark our buildings when we know that climate change is such a real, it's not even something that's going to affect them, it's affecting us now. I mean, Superstorm Sandy, which hit New York and was so devastating there, could easily have hit Boston. So I think we're at a time where we need to take action, and this is a very basic, benign step.
Why do we need these incentives to make more people do it?
We need the incentives. There are always those that jump on top and are willing to lead and be active in these programs. Within our membership as well, we have a significant number of our members, property owners in the city, who are right now participating in a program that ABC offers. It's a voluntary environmental program called the Challenge for Sustainability, where they are actively tracking, measuring, and benchmarking their facilities, and then working with us to help implement energy efficiency measures. But even as a free program within a Better City, we still have building owners who are not yet interested in investing the time and energy that it takes to actually work on these programs. And there's a lot of education that needs to go into the play. But we don't have a lot of time to 2020 when we need to hit our goals. And putting an ordinance in like this will enable us to really speed up and get folks engaged. And once they are in the program and they're starting to track their data, we believe that there will be significant increases in the amount of folks that are investing in energy efficiency programs, utilizing the monies that the utilities have. Massachusetts has the largest and most successful energy efficiency program in the country, but we're still missing a lot of participation. There's a lot that can be done. And ordinances like this will really help push the ball down the road. So.
Now, what about the properties where this ordinance would apply? Because one thing I'm hearing from the Greater Boston Real Estate Board is that, it's one thing to ask for all this disclosure and information gathering on the part of commercial property owners whose rents are going through the roof, admittedly. So, I mean, they got plenty of money, but there might be some other buildings, maybe it's not, maybe it's affordable housing where this might apply. Do we have to worry about some of the burden of gathering the information, maybe, Ted?
I mean, from everything I've read, this is going to be phased in over 5 years, so it's not as if it's happening tomorrow. But the city is setting the example by doing all of its own buildings in this coming year, in 2013. In 2014, it's non-residential buildings over 50,000 square feet. And then after that, it goes into residential buildings with 50 or more units. And then the year after that, 2016, is non-residential, greater than 25,000 square feet. And 2017 is residential buildings with 25 or more units. So I think that all of this fear-mongering about the financial burden, really the cost of doing nothing is that's what the cost is. It's both in terms of financially, all the money that we're losing and all these buildings are losing every month by paying more energy, using more energy than they need to, because they've got incandescent lights and they're running the air conditioner and the heating at the same time, or opening windows because it's too hot. I mean, there's so many ways. There's so much low-hanging fruit that buildings can take action on. And I think it makes sense to think about this as, although to me this is consumer protection in some ways, because if I'm going to be investing in a home or in an apartment or whatever, I want to know, just like when I buy a car, I want to know what the miles per gallon is, or when I shop for food, I want to know what the nutrition is of something I'm buying and avoid things that I know are unhealthy for me, or say I'm going to splurge, but I'm going to just buy one of these things even though I know it's unhealthy. To not know this major purchase of a home, or even as a renter, to not know what the energy costs are of living in that building is really it's a throwback, and it's something that I think we really should finally overcome.
We have these rival studies out there. The federal government says this does a pretty good job saving money, and then we have the Harvard economist who produced a study for the real estate board, and he says, well, maybe they don't save that much money.
Well, one of the interesting things with Staven's report was that it was...
He's the Harvard economist,
yeah, he's
right?
the Harvard economist. It was primarily focused on the residential program in Europe. When it came to the commercial-based ordinance programs, I think he as well agreed that there has been a lot of data collected. We've only been doing this in the United States for the last 3 years. New York was the first city in the country to really push forward an ordinance, and they came out with their first report on of the data just last August. So we don't have a lot of data on it, but what we are seeing is when people do manage or measure their energy use, they are more likely to manage it effectively, and they're more interested in actually investing in energy efficiency. And that's something that we've seen through our challenge program. That's what you see through the portfolio manager program, is that when people are paying attention to their energy, they can see where there may be losses in their systems, and they're able to go in and work to fix it. And this is all about making sure that the energy we are using is being used the most efficient way possible, so that we're able to secure our resources moving into the future, and make sure that Boston remains economically competitive as a city.
Great. Well, thank you both very much. David Strauss from ABCD and Ted Saunders from Ecological Solutions.